Hello everybody to our games workshop for 2025 and maybe a little bit of 2026 as well. So today you can learn everything that there is about game development on Solana. And first of all, we're going to start with like a little bit like what is Solana actually? So Solana is just a network with very fast confirmation times and very low fees. And in dev terms, basically how you can think of it is just like a big decentralized database where custom programs can change certain entries. And some of these programs can, of course, also be games, for example. So you can actually use Solana as a backend for your game. So I'm going to show you a bunch of examples for that today. And the first thing is this is the Solana network right now. So there's around 5,000 transactions per second. And I think currently around 1,300 validators around the world working together to secure the network, to process your transactions, and so on. And this is one of my favorite projects that I like to show. So this is a DePIN project, and it's basically providing decentralized internet around the world. And I think this is really cool because this is something that is actually something that you can feel, right? You can walk around and you can use the internet from the people who have these hotspots in their houses. And you just use the internet from people around you. And these people get paid on the Solana blockchain by microtransactions in tokens. So this project is called Helium. I think it's really cool. Another thing that Solana is currently building is Double Zero. And what Double Zero does is it's actually building a new internet. So what they basically do is they rent out a bunch of undersea fiber cables, and they use these to connect all the Solana validators. And like that, the transactions will become way faster because actually the public internet isn't very well suited for a blockchain. So with this, they're actually building a completely new internet. So I think this is super cool and will make Solana even better. And there's also a new consensus algorithm which Solana is actually currently working on. It's called Alpenglow. And currently a Solana transaction needs 400 milliseconds roughly to confirm. So for games, this is sometimes a bit too slow. But there's a few solutions around that. And probably end of this year or next year, Alpenglow will come. And this will actually bring down the confirmation or the finality times of Solana actually to 150 milliseconds. A few other cool Solana examples is like HiveMapper. They are like providing decentralized mapping of streets. So every Uber driver can just have a camera in their car and then they get extra rewards from that. Then there's Render for decentralized compute. Teleport is a decentralized Uber actually. Venta is having vending machines that use Solana. Then there's Solana Pay where you can just pay with QR codes. Then there is, I think what would be really cool to build is like a Solana Airbnb. And MetaWealth is, for example, tokenizing real estate. Then there's Shaga, where you can actually stream games from other people's gaming PCs. So your kids, if you have kids, they could rent out their gaming PCs overnight and then make money with that. And then, of course, the most innovative is games. So that's what we're going to talk today about. So but who am I? So I'm Jonas. I studied physics and then media informatics, and then I was a game developer for almost 15 years. I made some indie games. I worked for InnoGames for a long time, on Forge of Empires, for example. In the beginning, I worked a bit on the Unity SDK, and now I'm doing developer relations, and I'm mostly focused on games and DePIN. So that's why you will also see a little bit of hardware examples here in this presentation. But it's, I think there's also a connection between these. So you could actually maybe also combine these two fields. So the first thing we're gonna do is we play a little game together. Then I'm gonna tell you a little bit of why I think Solana is a good fit for games. Then we're gonna show you all the different dev tools and SDKs, because I think Solana has actually the broadest and best infrastructure for games. We have the SDKs for Unity, Unreal, Phaser. There's a great Godot SDK. And we have like multiple companies that are actually focused on infrastructure for games, especially like Magic Block, which lets you confirm your transactions in milliseconds. So this can actually compete with proper backends for games. So this is super exciting. Then we're gonna play a few more games. So I'm gonna show you actually a bunch of games today as well that are built on Solana, so that you just see what's possible. So the first game I want to show you is actually Solana 2048. You might know the game. It's like a very popular game, super simple. You just like move these tiles around, and when you have two tiles that have the same number, then they merge together and you try to reach a tile that has 2048. So, but yeah, the cool thing about this game is that actually every move I do here in this game is actually a transaction. So here in the bottom you can see the current average time. So currently it's around 1 second, but most of the time you get this like under 400 milliseconds actually. So I think my internet is not that good right now. But you can see, yeah, these confirm very, very quickly, and you can actually play this game on the blockchain. And another cool thing is, so whenever you start a new game, you can see here currently in this jackpot, there's 1.7 Sol in here. And yeah, this is there because every time someone starts a new game, they put a little bit of Sol into this jackpot. And then in the Solana program, we actually save the current high score of people. And then every, I think every Sunday night, per some on-chain automation, these rewards get paid out to the best players. And here you can see it's also, you can use an NFT as your profile picture here. This is like more of a gimmick, but if you would like send this NFT to someone else, then they would have the game, the same game state. So I think this shows you already a little bit what you can do with it. So like imagine you have an RPG game and this NFT is actually your character. And the more you play with it, maybe it levels up and gets new skills. And then this NFT actually becomes more valuable the more you play with it. So I think it's a really cool thing. So this is, of course, open source. And yeah, here we can see you can also add Sol to the jackpot. So like, let's say you want to take this game. It's all open source. You deploy it yourself. And then maybe you have a big hype. Maybe there's a bunch of Sol in the jackpot this week. Everyone go play. And then everyone plays. And you can also like add a little fee for your own wallet, of course. So every time someone plays, maybe 80% go on the jackpot. And 20% go to you who's like providing the service of the website. Yeah, and then you have like some kind of skill game where people can actually also win something. And the global high score is actually 62,000. So that's pretty crazy. Yeah, so if you want to try this out, it's here, open source, and you can play it right now. The next thing, so why use Solana for your games actually? So there's many opportunities that you can like pursue when you use Solana. So the transactions are super cheap. Like you have like 400 millisecond confirmation times, and the transaction fees are usually like less than a cent. So I think someone did some tests, but it's like some time ago, where they compared Solana with this Amazon, AWS, and back then Solana was, I think, 5 times more expensive in reads and 10 times more expensive in writes or something like that. But this will improve over time. So maybe eventually at some point you can actually, yeah, maybe it will actually be cheaper and faster. Yeah, then rewards, you can, like I already said, you can like reward people for what they are doing in the games. You can have like certain NFTs that you can use to play the game or unlock certain features. I saw an RPG game once which had like, whenever you equipped a certain NFT, it would spawn a pet next to you, and this pet had special abilities. So you could, for example, have a beaver, and when you have the little beaver next to you, then you would chop trees super fast. So that was a really cool thing, I think. Then composability, so you can actually, everyone, whenever you deploy a program on Solana, everyone can use it. So everyone can just send transactions there. And then you have like, it's called an IDL. So it's like a JSON representation of your program that you upload as well. And then everyone can interact with your program. So I think what would be really fun to build is, for example, a cookie clicker, where like a bunch of people click together on the same cookie. Because since everything is public, everyone can also just click the same cookie. And then you could like have an open source project where people can add new features, and then you build the game together, and then you have like a token, like a cookie token or something, and then you use that, and then maybe you build some community around it and share the token between the developers or something. Or you could also have like a world program, like, and on the world you can like mine certain resources. So for example, copper, steel, titanium, or whatever. And then other programs or other games could use these resources to build something. And yeah, if all use the same stuff, then maybe the copper prices on a decentralized market exchange go up, because a bunch of people are currently building copper armors and copper swords in their games or something like that. So this is just something to think about. It's like something that wouldn't be possible without using a Solana network as a backend. Then yeah, it's free for all. Everyone can use it. You can also have the players pay for your backend infrastructure actually, which is like not possible in Web 2. So you can just, the transaction costs, you can just let the players pay, and then depending on if they find it valuable or not, they just pay the transaction cost and you don't have to do it. It will always stay there. I mean, this game I think I deployed like, I think 2 years ago, and it's still running fine. Like it will always be there on the blockchain. The validators have it in their memory and people can use it. Another nice thing is like instead of accounts like email address and password, you just use the player's wallet. So the players just log in with their wallets. You have their identity. They can't cheat because they need the private key to sign their transactions. And yeah, it's very convenient actually. It makes it very easy. You don't need to like recover my password thing or something. That's all handled then by the wallets itself. Then you can use it as a payment provider. Like, let's say you have this game here and maybe instead of 2048, or you have like a special feature in 2048, like from time to time, a certain character spawns instead of a number. And when you combine these, like it's an archer and they shoot in all directions and delete all the tiles or something like that. And you can have an in-app purchase where you can just buy this feature and then you have it forever. So you can like just use it as a payment provider. And you save the App Store fees. Like if people pay on blockchain, then you don't need to pay 30% to Apple and Google. And yeah, Solana Labs is actually working currently on a phone, which comes out, I think, in 3 days. The Solana Seeker. So if you're fast, you can still deploy your games there. And yeah, if you do that, you immediately have, I think they have 300,000 pre-orders. So you have 300,000 Solana native users in your game immediately. So that's, yeah, a great opportunity. Then there are engaged target audience. Like there's a bunch of, like I already said, these people who are already using Solana. They will be interested in trying your games, of course. Yeah, and currently it's like a great time to start your games. And like I already said, the tech stack is very easy, actually. So there's a thing called the Anchor framework on Solana. And the Anchor framework makes it very easy to program on Solana and create programs. And like I already said, it replaces your login. It replaces your database, it replaces your payment provider. So all these things you don't need to implement anymore because they are already in this framework. And yeah, here I have a picture of like all the other tech stacks like Airbnb, what they use, Uber, Dropbox. And most of these things you can just let Solana do for you. So it's really cool. And yeah, multiplayer comes out of the box since all the accounts are always public and all the programs are public. Yeah, you can just, everyone can use it and you already have multiplayer in there because you have the account status public to everybody. Yeah, then like if you're like tried Ethereum before or something like that, I want to just show you how the Solana network is handling fees. So on Solana, we have a thing called a localized fee market. So what that means is that instead of when a bunch of people want to do something on chain, all the transactions go into a big mempool and then they get processed timer like one after the other. On Solana, you actually, and then the fees also go up for everybody. On Solana, you actually need to always put in all the accounts that you want to interact with. And then only if a certain account is used by a lot of people, only then for that account, the fees will go up. And yeah, the benefit is like, let's say there is like a big token launch or like a big NFT mint or something, then only the fees for this token or for this NFT will go up. But like your game probably would be unaffected because it's using different accounts. So this is like a great speciality. So yeah, quickly, how does Solana work? Like I already said, Solana is just a big database, basically. So everything is an account. You always have like a private key and a public key. And yeah, some of these accounts can also be owned by programs, and then the programs can change them. And otherwise, you would need to always like sign some transaction or message with your private key, and then you're able to change your account. So it's like it's a key to your account, and whenever you want to change it, you need either your private key or the owned program can change it. Yeah, every account can only be changed by its owner, and yeah, some of these accounts can be executable. And if you want to change something, this is how it looks like. It looks like a bit more intimidating than it actually is. Like basically, you have a list of instructions. For example, in this game we had earlier, you have like move left, move right, up, down, and so on. And you just send this instruction, hey, I want to move up. Then you need to put the recent block hash. This is just for the validators so that they know your transaction is still valid. So I think it's valid about for 12 seconds or something. Then you have the fee payer, so someone needs to pay the fees, which is like a fraction of a cent. And then you need all the signers for the different accounts you want to change. So quite straightforward, actually. And then your client sends this transaction to an RPC node, and the RPC node then forwards it to the current leader. So in every epoch, it's called epoch, it's like where all the different blocks are in, I think it's around 2 days, there's a leader schedule. So all the different validators basically get in a list, and then one of them is always the leader. That is the one that's producing the next block. And then this RPC node sends the transaction to the next leader, and then the leader processes the transaction, and then through a system called Turbine, it's like sending it via gossip to all the other validators, and they vote on it. And after around 400 milliseconds, 66% of stake voted for your transaction, and then it's confirmed. And there has never been a confirmed method transaction that didn't finalize. So usually after 400 milliseconds, you're good. And then the RPC node, for example, via a WebSocket connection, can tell your client, hey, your transaction is processed, here's your new state. So in our game, for example, we always get a new tile. And the new tile is randomly generated in the program. So we wait for the WebSocket update, and then we get the new tile, and then we can move that tile around again. Tokens are quite interesting because you can use it to raise money with your games. Basically, you can just create a token and then sell it to people. Or you can have a token that is like minted in your game for certain things. Like I already mentioned earlier, you could have like copper, steel, titanium or something. And yeah, this is how this works. So the token program creates a mint account. It's basically your token. This one has some data and it also has some metadata like a token icon and a token name and so on. And then you have a token account. So you have a wallet in your browser wallet, for example. And in there you have a token account, which is derived from the mint of your token. And in that account, actually, the amount of your tokens is saved. So it's quite different from some other networks. So yeah, your tokens are in your account, and like that, if you use your token account, it can be parallelized instead of that you always need the whole smart contract of your token, like in other networks. So, and now we are coming actually finally to the game tools. So I just want to show you all the different resources we have for game development. So the best thing to get started is the Solana docs. So we have a bunch of sites there, web pages that basically tell you everything about Solana development. Maybe I quickly go through this a little bit. So here you can see this is getting started, like some of the benefits, how you can integrate Solana in your games. Here are all the different game SDKs, which I will go over in a bit. Then we have game distribution. So we have there's actually a few new ones that I will tell you later about. I will probably add them to this list here. There's, for example, indie.fun, which is great for indie game developers. The game SDKs, game distribution, platforms, and then down here you have a bunch of links where you can go further, like token in games, dynamic NFT metadata, energy systems, so something that refills energy over time, like for Candy Crush, for example. Then there's a bunch of examples and so on. But let's go to the Unity SDK. So the Unity SDK is probably the most developed by now. So it's like already in development for, I think, almost 3 years now. And yeah, it has everything you need. So it has mobile support, you have wallet adapter support, you have a thing called session keys, which you can use to automatically approve transactions, which actually also used in this 2048 game. Then you can have an in-game wallet if you want. You can build transactions, you have custom WebSockets. There is some ZK primitives. I'm not sure if these are already live, but then there's different NFT standards. So for example, Metaplex NFTs and there's a ranking program, and they also built something called ephemeral rollups, which make transactions way faster. We're going to talk about this in a few slides later, when we talk about transaction performance. Then the Godot SDK is also amazing, so it's really cool. It has also it has core NFT support, it has wallet adapter support, mobile support. It has a bunch of demos, and I added a link here to a bunch of videos. So Tumuka's one is a great guy, and he made a bunch of video series. So you can watch making games with Godot for hours. So that's really cool. And it's maintained by Tumukas1 and Axel Benjamin. Then we have a Phaser SDK, a Phaser Solana template. This is maintained by Blockusaurus from Metaplex. And yeah, you can just run it, and then you have Phaser Solana template. And I think this one is probably really good for vibe coding, like if you just want to use AI. I think AI is very good in using the JavaScript stuff. Then we have a really cool Solana Rust game engine that your Sansa built, or your Saya actually. I have a few links here. So the cool thing about this one is it's completely written in Rust. It's a completely new engine, but it also has a Solana integration, and you can actually like build and deploy your programs directly in the browser using Wasm. So yeah, if you just want to have fun with some pixel games, I think it's only 2D. This is a fun thing to try out. Then there's the Honeycomb protocol. They are actually currently organizing a game jam, and I think it still goes for 2 hours. 2 weeks. So maybe if you still have time, you can still submit. I'm not sure if this will come out in time, but there will definitely be more game jams in the future. And yeah, they have a thing called generalized compression, so they make it really cheap to save data on chain, and they have a bunch of primitives like loot boxes, guilds, token, player profiles, and all these. So yeah, check out their documentation, and here are also the maintainers if you want to follow them on X. Here's a list of Solana game tutorials. So we have the Solana game examples, where you have a bunch of examples that you can just look at and copy certain things over, like for example an energy system. Then we have a bunch of YouTube videos here for how to handle big accounts, how to use Solana Pay, QR codes in games, some advanced topics. I think that's mostly what we're also going to talk here today. Same as the intro. And then yeah, the energy system is quite nice. It's quite straightforward. It's also in the Solana Games preset. Then there's a bunch of Unreal SDKs. I don't know too much about Unreal. I'm not an Unreal developer. But if you go to the docs, so the SDKs, you can see like I think we have 3 or 4 different Unreal SDKs. Then if you want to do automation, so let's say, for example, you have a strategy game, right? And you send troops from one city to another, and they walk over. And when they arrive, you want to trigger something. Then you can, for example, use Tuk. Tuk is basically an automation system which can trigger transactions for you. It's maintained by Helium, so these are the guys that actually do the mobile internet, but they needed this to be able to distribute their rewards automatically. So people claim their rewards, but using Tuk you can also set it up so that they automatically come to your wallet. Then, yeah, dynamic NFTs I think are super cool, and they are like, there's a missed opportunity that not more people use it, I think. Like I already said, like these NFTs that can level up and get experience and become stronger over time. And for that you have 2 options. So there's Metaplex Core. So it's just a new NFT standard where instead of, like it currently is for the most NFTs, like using the Metaplex metadata program, in this case you're using the Core NFT program, and it has a plugin system, so you can like create your NFT and you can add a bunch of plugins to it, like something not transferable, or like a realities enforced, for example. Or you can also have metadata that is dynamic, so you can actually, like in your program, for example, give the player experience and let him level up or something like that. Or you can have different dynamic info, like metadata, like for example, every night some NFT goes to sleep and wakes up in the morning or whatever. You can do the same thing with the new token program, the token 22 program. So here's 2 examples on how you can do this. Like one is in an Anchor program, and it's in an Anchor program. There's also a video explaining this. Then we have the Solana Games preset. So it makes it super easy for you to set up on-chain games. So you just use npx create Solana game, and then you add your game name, and it creates you an Anchor program, a JavaScript client, and a Unity client. And it also already replaces all the different names of the program and so on. And yeah, with this one you can like very easily get started. And there's also here a video, 10 minutes, explaining you that. Maybe in the end, if we have time, we create a little game together. I was thinking like a cookie clicker, but I have so many slides to go through, so I'm not quite sure yet if we get there. Then this is another cool thing that you can do. You can actually use these Solana Pay transaction requests to trigger transactions via QR code. So here you can see, I think I don't have my wallet currently set on definite, and it's over there. But what you can do is with your phone wallet, you just scan one of these QR codes, and then this is a tug of war game here. So you can, for example, imagine you have a big stadium, right? And you divide the crowd into two parts. And then the left side scans the left QR code and the right side scans the right QR code. And then you have this tug of war, and maybe you have a little fee. And then the winner will actually get all the rewards, so the winner team. So this is also open source, so you can try it out. And you could build, of course, way cooler stuff than this with just a tug of war game. For example, you could have a space game where you have like spaceships. And every spaceship has like a few different QR codes. And you can, like, for example, activate a shield or shoot a rocket or a laser or something. And then if you have like a big conference, you put this on the screen during a break, and then people can like start fighting each other. So I think it would be super cool to build. If I had time, I would probably build that. That I just quickly wanted to show you. Then here's a few more examples that you can just look at. So someone, for example, built a civilization clone, which is really fun to play actually. This one is also built completely open source, like with multiple people together. So what they did is they used Super Team Earn system to basically set out certain bounties so that people implement certain features. So for example, there was like, hey, you get $50 if you implement the range upgrade for archers or something, I think it was. And then someone did it, and then they implemented it. And then you have this game coming out. I think they used gibwork here. Yeah, here's the link. So I think that was really cool. Then there is another example game, Humans versus Goblins. So this is like a city builder where you actually build a city. But depending on if you're building on the right side, the human side, or the left side, the goblin side, the goblins or the humans become stronger. So it's actually like a long-term idle game, but you basically pick a side and try to build so that your side wins. So I think that's also quite fun. Then this is a match 3 game, but it has a bunch of cool new features. So it's not like only match 3, but you like combine certain gems together to trigger certain spells. So I think here on the right you have this. This was also a very nice game, also open source. Then here is Ancient Cave. So if you ever played Lufia on the Super Nintendo, then this would be for you. So basically you go down floors down to level 99, and in the Lufia game you would always start again at level 0. And so you level up while going down. You have these chests and you become stronger. And then there's some blue chests, or in this case golden chests. And these contain items that you can take into your next run in the dungeon. So it's a bit of a roguelike. But another thing here is that every floor can actually be owned by another player. And you always have to either pay a little bit to the player to pass him, or you need to defeat him, and then you get his money. So it's a very interesting interaction while you go down in the floors, because you always have to think like, should I fight another player, or should I just go on and then maybe occupy a further floor, which is like more valuable for you. Now I want to talk a bit about publishing. Like in the recent, like the games market, it has a tough time right now. So one of the benefits of using the Solana network is that you can actually raise money with it. So there's a tool called, or like a website called indie.fun. And you can just publish your games there, and they launch a token for you. And like that you can raise money. So for example, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, Ruby Corporation was one of the games that launched there. And I saw I think they made like 50K USD in just 6 minutes. So this is a great opportunity for indie games. Like if you have a great game, reach out to indie.fun and see if you can publish a game there. And then you can, of course, just make money with in-game items and services like in normal games. So you can like unlock certain features. You can unlock certain items in the game. The items could be NFTs, and people could trade them around. You could collect them, something like that. And then you can release your phone or your game on the Solana phone. So I think that would be really cool. I think I definitely want to make a game for the phone. And then we have an indie game village coming up soon. So this is really cool. There's like a bunch of Solana indie game teams meeting together in Ho Chi Minh. And yeah, they are building like I think 5 games together, and they all gonna release them on mobile after this month. So yeah, I'm super excited for this one. So and then I expect like the indie game developers become the biggest force in game development soon. I want to talk a little bit about transaction performance. So if you want to send your transactions as quickly as in the games I showed you, here's a bunch of tips. I'm not sure if I should go too much into details, but to lend your transactions quickly, you need to add priority fees. So basically you pay a little bit more so that the validator is like actually prioritizing your transactions. Then you can use WebSocket connections, like I already said, like you have a WebSocket connection to your RPC node, so you get very quickly updates. Then you can cache the block hash. There's like certain special WebSockets which are even faster. You can change your transaction commitments to processed, then it's also a bit faster. You can also predict your transactions in the client. So for example, in the game I showed you, the Solana 2048, the tiles actually move immediately, but then the new tile, which is random, only appears after the transaction is confirmed. So here you can see, it's currently not loading, but I'm gonna show some other games later again. So you move already, and then after 400 milliseconds you get the new tile, and then you can move again. Then you should not use the public RPC endpoints. There is like RPC nodes like QuickNode, Triton, Hello Moon, Helios, and Flux RPC. There's a lot of them that you can use. And yeah, now I want to show you like one more thing. Like I already mentioned Magic Block before, and yeah, how Magic Block works, they have a thing called ephemeral rollups. So basically what that means, they take the state from mainnet, they put it in their rollup, and there you can do super fast transactions, and then after your game session, you write it back on the chain. And there's 2 games currently that I wanted to show you. So this is pretty much similar to Crossy Roads, but here every move you do in the game is actually a transaction on Magic Block. So you can see how quickly I can just run through this. I can run over water, I just noticed. But anyway, it's like not 100% polished yet, but it works. Another one is Block Stranding. So this is actually like an RPG. So you can walk around, and then you have these little monsters here, and yeah, I can kill these. Oh, so he's running after me, and yeah, every move I do in this game is also actually on the blockchain. Here you can see the transaction is pending. So it's like saving, I think, after every monster I kill or something, or maybe every action is on chain. I'm not quite sure. Oh, it's quite tough. Yeah, I can then also use these little stars that I connect actually to upgrade my character. Oh wait, I'm gonna show you that as soon as I killed it. So my now like my endurance needs to load up again, otherwise I can't attack. So in here you can see I already upgraded a few things, but I can now, for example, increase my attack damage, and now I'm a bit stronger. So definitely try this out. I think it's a really fun game. Yeah, and both of these games use Magic Block ephemeral rollups to actually be that fast. Now I want to show you a little bit about compression. So you can actually mint 1 million NFTs for only 5 Sol. So a good example for that here is this page here has like 1 million pixels. And even this Medlex logo here is like 60,000 pixels. And every of these pixels you can just mint for only 5,000 lamperts. So it's like cost a fraction of a cent. So you could also like fork this if you want, and then you could like change it so that you can like override pixels or something like that. Or you could like maybe R spaces from Reddit. So this is like very similar. You could build something like that. And for games, of course, you want the NFTs in the game to be as cheap as possible. So this would probably make sense to use. This is the wallet adapter. It's just a thing that you can use to connect to any Solana wallet on mobile and in the browser. So the next thing I want to show you is how you can do auto-approving of transactions. Because you saw like in the games before, we want to, of course, like move very quickly instead of for every transaction have the wallet pop up and sign the transaction and so on. So there's a few different ways how you can do that. Well, first of them is on Solflare. There's an auto approve for burner wallets. So I'm gonna quickly show you this. If I go here in my wallet and I go to settings and then security, privacy, manage app, and then I go to one of these apps, then here I can enable auto connect and auto approve. This is a nice system, but yeah, it's per app. You need to configure it in your wallet and so on. So it's not super usable, but yeah, if you manage to explain it to some people, they can actually use it. Chrono Kingdoms, a game on Solana, actually used this. So yeah, it's quite nice, and you have already like your wallet in your browser wallet that you can directly use. Then what you can also do is you can create a local key pair in the browser, and then you just let people transfer some sol in there, and then you use this local key pair in the game to do the transactions. So that's super convenient. I'm gonna show you this in this game here. If you want, you can actually join. So it's solplay.de/7cs. It's a game we built for the bootcamp, like I think 2 or 3 years ago. And I can just go here on DevNet, and I can pick my avatar, and I can deploy my ship. And now I'm on this map here, on this water map. And here you can also see, again, every move is a transaction, so I can move around here. And yeah, since the ship takes a few tiles, it's actually hiding very well that there is transaction time. And you can see there is some ship hiding here in the top left. So if I go next to it, I can actually shoot it. And when I shoot it, I get some pirate coins. And these pirate coins I can then use to upgrade my ship. Same if I collect these chests here, you can see I get some extra pirate coins. So now I have 135 pirate coins. And there's also rum and cannons. So the more rum tokens you have, the stronger your ship becomes. And the more cannons you have, the stronger your attacks becomes. You saw like I did like 2 damage per cannon shot. But if you have more cannons, then you do more damage. And another really cool thing is I can scan this QR code here on top. And this is a Solana Pay transaction request. And if I do that, then this big Cthulhu monster here in the corner will actually start attacking the ships and shoot fireballs. So what you can do like this, for example, like let's say you have League of Legends or like some League of Legends like game where you like play multiple teams against each other and you want the audience to continue to participate, you could add these QR codes, and then maybe the audience can pay a little bit to like shoot some fireballs and some players and interfere with the game a little bit, or make monsters stronger or something like that. And here, if I click on this auto approve wallet here, I mean the UI is a bit broken, but what you can see is you can deposit your sol here and you can withdraw it. And yeah, like that you can basically just fund your in-game wallet and then later take your rewards out again. Also the tokens and the cannons and so on. So that's a very nice system. The only problem is that if people delete their browser cache, they might lose their in-game wallet. So that's not perfect as well. Then there is a thing that's similar to that, but it's a bit better. It's session keys. So what this does, it basically creates a session token for a short amount of time, and you can use this session token to sign for transactions. That's used in the Solana 2048, for example. This key pair is still saved in the browser though, but it's very easy to set up. If you clone the Solana 2048 game, you can see how it's done, or the Solana Games preset, npx create Solana game. Then you can try it out. So that's a nice system. Yeah, this is how it's done in Solana 2048. And then you can, of course, also sign transactions in your backend. You just like let people sign up with your email, the email address or whatever, and then you just pay the transaction fees for the players. Of course, this can become a little bit expensive, especially like if you get bots or something like that. If they just use your backend to sign the transactions, and maybe it becomes expensive at some point. The nice thing about all the other ones is that the players pay the transaction fees, and this is like a little bit of a bot protection as well, because at least they need to pay for the transactions, right? And you can also always add fees if there's something wrong with it. Yeah, this is how you would do that. It's just an example. You would just like have your key pair in your Versal app, for example, and then sign with that one. Then for onboarding, there's a few other options as well. So you can use wallets that where you just sign up with an email address. So for example, there's Privy, then there is Para, then there is passkeys. So you can just use like your face basically, or a fingerprint to log in. And then there's Web3 Auth, which is also part of the Unity SDK. So that you can also use to just sign up with an email address, and then you have a wallet. Yeah, you can definitely check these out if you want to have an easy onboarding for your game. Then I want to quickly show you how you can do on-chain events. So sometimes in your program you need events. So for example, monster got attacked, or enemy hit your base, or something like that in the program. And you can just use Anchor for that. You just emit an event with certain data. So for example, enemy was damaged. I think this game has a few events where like it has like your ship, the other ship, and the damage that is done. And then you can like listen to these events, and then you can show it in your client, or you can put it in your database or whatever. Here's a video explaining these events as well. I'm not gonna go too much into detail. If you want to, you can just watch the video about it. Then what's very important is like randomness on chain. So let's say you wanted to some kind of coin flip, or poker, or blackjack, or whatever. So you can very easily implement randomness in a program just in Rust, of course. But it has some disadvantages, which I will tell you in a bit. So it's a bit insecure. So, but if you just need some basic randomness, like for example, the randomness from this Cthulhu monster, how much damage it does, is done like that, because it doesn't need to be secure. So here basically there's the Cthulhu damage, and then we get a random value using XOR shift. Then you can make these a little bit more random by using XOR shift 64 star, or you can also include the block hash, which is pretty random. But yeah, here's another example, just if you need that. But the block hash isn't 100% secure. So what potential attacker could do is, let's say you have your spin the fortune wheel transaction. Then an attacker could just add another instruction to the transaction that he sends, and he could just always let that one fail when he doesn't like the outcome of the spin transaction. So you need to be very careful with these kind of things. That's why yeah, the randomness that you do like this in the program is not secure. What you need to do instead is you need to use an oracle. So there's a bunch of different oracle solutions: Magic Block, VRF, Switchboard, or RAW. And what these do is they basically, your game requests the randomness from the oracle, and then the oracle actually does a CPI, like it calls your program again with this random value, and then you consume the random value. This basically decouples the sending of the transaction from the evaluation of the randomness, and like that people can't cheat. So that's a very important thing, because there were a few cases in the past where people used this, and then yeah, they their treasuries got like drained. Here's a few more of these resources explained. And yeah, now I want to, as you know, I like hardware, so I'm going to talk a little bit about DePIN in games. So what you can do is like you can control a Raspberry Pi with QR codes, for example. Here we built a very funny project where you just scan a QR code, and this machine automatically pulls your drink into your glass. So, and yeah, if you think about these hardware and game connections, I think you can build a bunch of cool things. So you could, for example, just have a Raspberry Pi or something like this with a few buttons. And whenever you press a button, it mints you a token. So like, let's say in your family, maybe you have kids, and anyone who does something good in the house gets a token on a button press or something like that. And then in the end, they can use them to buy ice cream or whatever like that. So, or you can like, I don't know, all kind of games where you like basically reward people to do something somewhere. Then there is LoRaWAN sensors. So this is this is a thing where you use the Helium LoRaWAN net. So it's a long-range network, and you can use different sensors to trigger certain things. So you could, for example, have a chest somewhere, and every time you open it, it mints you a token, or only then you can scan the QR code that is actually in the chest. So this is an example that shows you how you can do stuff like that. So like a Schnitzeljagd, like how we say in German. So here's a bunch of different DePIN ideas. The first one actually someone built today. So there is you could have a bunch of sensors which actually look if there's free parking spots in an area, and then via an app people can just rent these, or like parking spots that are in front of other people's houses, and then you could just sell these to people. Or you could use light sensors to figure out if certain rooms are occupied. You can have build a live stream where people scan QR codes, and then you trigger a machine which like feeds a hamster or a dog or something like that. And another cool thing, like there's a project from Germany which is called Katzentracker. Basically, you have like a little device on your cat that walks around, and you can exactly see where it is. And this is kind of stuff you can also use, for example, for cars and bikes so that no one can steal them. Or you could like put them into packages actually that are traveling around, and then you could always exactly know when your package arrives, so that you're not like having a coffee outside in a bakery at that time, for example. Yeah, there's so many things you could build with this, like a vending machine, for example, or a warning system for catastrophes. And yeah, for games, what I already said to you, like what would be really cool is like a decentralized cookie clicker, where like a bunch of people just click the cookie together, and when every time they click, they get a token, and you just send a transaction, and then like you can have tons of different features. Like, I don't know if you played the original cookie clicker, but like they have this grandmas, and then you have factories and hospitals and the temple, and whenever you build something new, you get more cookies. So I think it would be really fun. Or you could have like a world of resources. So you basically have a planet program, and whenever someone calls it, they can probably, for example, mine copper, iron, and I don't know, some kind of other materials, or wood and wool and stuff. And then you could craft different things out of this. Or some kind of robot wars. And yeah, there's so many different things you could build with that. Then I want to show you quickly, I think automation I mentioned earlier. So now I want to just give you like a little outlook about 2025, the end of it, and probably 2025 as well. So yeah, what I think will happen is like more people will probably use token extensions and the core NFTs. So you will definitely see some people utilize these dynamic NFTs, I think. And then, yeah, these NFTs will become like more valuable over time the more you play with it. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. I definitely want someone to build that, or maybe I also will try it myself. I recently tried out Core, but I had problems changing the metadata in a program. Like the JavaScript SDK is really good, but in a program I didn't manage yet. But I have an example of like a staking program on chain, which apparently changes metadata on a Core program NFT. So I think that will be one of the things. Then there will be definitely easier onboarding. Like I showed you a link to a bunch of different wallets already. But I think there will be like more stuff like passkeys, ZK login, or like just log in with your email address and immediately like buy a little bit of funds for your burner wallet and then directly use that in a game. I think the onboarding will probably be much better end of the year. Then transaction speeds will become faster. Like I already told you about Alpenglow, like the faster Solana client. Then Agave, like the current client, is also getting better all the time. And Magic Block now has this possibility to almost build real-time games. So I think this we will definitely see more of that. Yeah, I showed you 2 games already, and I think they have a bunch more in the pipeline. So definitely check out Magic Block if you want to have like very fast confirmation times. And then I think I predicted this last year already, but it didn't really happen. I was expecting there to be like these kind of strategy games, like maybe from Ethereum, you know, the game called the Knife Game or the Wolf Game, where you have like spies and knives, and you like mint knives, and then the prices for knives go up, and you need to like defeat the spies. Or like for the Wolf Game, you have like wolf and sheep. But these kind of strategy games didn't really happen, which I found strange. I thought they would like eventually also be picked up by indie games that build something like that, just like where you strategize over certain items and fight each other, and then like the price dynamics between the different tokens and so on. And I'm still waiting for someone to build Dark Forest, if you don't know that. It's like a great game where you have like a huge galaxy and you basically start with a little planet. And then you send your ship to collect resources and you grow your planet in influence. And you build more ships, and then you try to conquer the whole universe. And at some point you like beat the other players, and then there is some superstar in the middle that you need to conquer, and then you win the game. Yeah, I think this would be perfect to build on chain actually. And then there will definitely be more AI coded games. Like I saw so many people already which like got into game development now, and it's just so much easier for them because they just let AI build their stuff. And actually, Solana is not too bad for AI development. So you can actually build programs even with AI, because now we have a Solana MCP server. I'm gonna put the link here in the slide that you can look later at. And this one actually is really good at programming Solana programs, because it knows all the Solana docs, it knows all the game examples, DePIN examples, and program examples, and it knows also the anchor docs. So it's pretty good at writing programs by now actually. And yeah, there's also a platform called dev.fun where you just put a prompt and you get a game out or an app. So that one is also pretty nice. And then I think there will be more indie games this year. Like you already saw the indie games initiative that the world is starting. And yeah, I think that's going to be just a lot of... I think the biggest potential for crypto games is actually indie developers to just experiment and build cool stuff. And especially with AI, everyone can now build a great game actually. And yeah, that is already it. If you have any questions, please put them in the description, in the comments. And yeah, you can always ping Solana Devs or Soulplay Jonas, that would be me, or Jacob Creech, the head of developer relations. Especially if you have any problems developing, let us know. Check out the Getting Started guide and the docs for games. Here's the link to the slides that you can look at the slides, because I went over a few of the technical things. I went a bit faster. And yeah, the next hackathon is always coming up. Check out colosseum.org. Will probably be another one end of this year. The current game jam is maybe still running when you watch this, not 100% sure. But there will also be more game jams in the future where you can just submit your games, win some money, and yeah, happy game development. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.